I tried to cheat a personality test, not because I'm proud of that, but because I wanted to know something that nobody explains properly. Can you force a result? Can you answer in a way that gets you the type you want? The traits you want? The identity you want? And if you can, does that mean personality tests are fake? Or does it mean something more uncomfortable, like most of us are already faking a little bit without realizing? Stay with me, because halfway through this, I'm going to read you a personality profile that almost everyone thinks is about them, and then I'll show you why your brain falls for it. And at the end, I'll give you the only way I've found to use personality tests so they actually improve your life, instead of becoming a label you hide behind. Today is not, what breed are you? This is the psychology of personality tests, why they feel accurate, how they fail, and what cheating reveals about you. And no, this is not diagnosis, therapy, or some claim that one test defines you. This is about patterns, and how to turn patterns into choices. Most personality tests fall into two families. Type-based tests, they put you in a category. It's clean, it's shareable, it's, I'm this, and it can be useful. But it's also easier to turn into identity cosplay. And then there are trait-based tests. They measure you on sliders, like how organized you tend to be, how socially bold you tend to be, how emotionally reactive you tend to be. Traits are messier, but they're closer to reality. Because humans aren't one label. Humans are a set of dials. Today, we're going to try to cheat both styles. Here's the lab rules. First, I take a baseline honestly. No manipulating. No, who I want to be. Just what I actually do. Then, I do 2 cheat runs. I answer as the version of me I want people to see. And then, I try to force a specific outcome, like, make me look like the calm, confident leader type. Then we compare. Because the interesting question isn't, can you cheat? It's what changes when you try. Quick viewer experiment. Most people don't cheat intentionally, they cheat subconsciously. So pause right now and answer honestly. When you fill out a personality test, do you answer as A, your actual baseline, B, your ideal self, or C, the result you secretly want? Be honest, this matters later. Beat. All right, let's run it. Baseline run. And here's the thing. Honest still isn't perfect, because the question, who are you, is weird. Am I answering based on me at my best? Me at my worst? Me this week? Me after coffee? Me when I'm sleep deprived? So the baseline rule is, answer based on what you do most often, across time, not your highlight reel. Quick humor beat. If your baseline is, I'm calm, unless someone breathes wrong, you're not calm. All right, baseline results. Now, this part usually feels validating, because a decent test will catch something. But validation isn't the same as truth. So now we do the first cheat. This is the most common cheat. Not, I'm lying. More like, I'm answering as who I should be. This is where people accidentally create a personality profile that looks like a job interview. You know the vibe. Do you handle stress well? Yes, obviously. I am a tranquil monk. Are you organized? Yes. I am basically a spreadsheet with legs. So I answered as the version of me that I want strangers to believe exists permanently. And here's the first big reveal. The test didn't just change. The tone changed. Baseline results usually include trade-offs. Ideal self results read like you're applying for sainthood. And if that's you, no shame. It doesn't mean you're fake, it means you're human. But it does mean your results might be measuring self-image, not behavior. Now we do the most extreme cheat. Now I'm going to try to force a specific outcome. I'm going to aim for the kind of result people tend to want. Calm, confident, socially capable, disciplined, emotionally unshakable. Basically, main character who has their life together. Here's what I'm doing differently. I'm choosing answers that signal certainty. I'm avoiding anything that signals anxiety or doubt. I'm choosing leadership, decisiveness, resilience. And this is where it gets interesting. Because on type-based tests, you can often steer the outcome pretty easily by consistently picking one side. But on better trait-based tests, you'll hit a wall. Because they do things like, Ask the same trait 3 different ways, mix in reversed questions, and catch contradictions. So what happens? And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you can force the perfect result, that doesn't automatically mean the test is useless. Sometimes it means you just proved the test is measuring what you want to be seen as. And that is real data too, because self-image drives behavior. Okay, I'm going to read you a short personality profile. While I read it, I want you to silently rate, out of 10, how accurate it feels. Ready? You come across confident, but you're more complex than people assume. You care about doing things right, but you don't like being controlled. You're capable of being very disciplined, but only when something matters to you. You're loyal to your people, but you've learned not to trust too easily. You're independent, and sometimes that independence looks like distance. And you're drawn to growth, because staying the same feels like wasting your potential. Pause. Rate it out of 10. Now, here's the reveal. That profile is designed to feel personal to almost anyone. That's the Barnum effect. Vague statements that your brain customizes into, "That's me." This is why shallow personality content can feel accurate. It's emotionally satisfying, but it doesn't give you levers. So the question becomes, how do we tell the difference between a flattering mirror and a useful map? Here's the standard. A personality result is useful if it does at least one of these. 1. It predicts behavior in real situations. Not perfectly, but noticeably. 2. It includes trade-offs. If your result has no downside, it's marketing, not psychology. 3. It has some stability over time. Not forever, but not depends on lunch. 4. It gives you actions, because insight without action is just trivia about yourself. And now we hit the part almost no one talks about. State versus trait. People get confused because they take a personality test in a state and think they discovered a trait. If you're burnt out, you might score more withdrawn. If you're anxious, you might score more avoidant. If you're sleep deprived, you might score more irritable. That's not who you are forever. That's your nervous system waving a flag. But here's the other truth. Even traits aren't a prison. Humans change because the brain changes. Neuroplasticity is real. You can become better at emotional regulation. You can become more assertive. You can become more disciplined. But change usually doesn't come from new information. It comes from new repetitions. So the best use of personality insight is this. Identify your default pattern. Then choose one small lever to practice until it becomes you. That's it. That's the game. Here's the 5-step toolkit. This is the part you keep. Step 1. Treat the result as a hypothesis. Say, this might be true. When is it true? When is it not? Step 2. Translate labels into behaviors. Instead of "I'm introverted," say, "I recharge alone after social effort." Behavior beats identity. Step 3. Find your trade-off. Ask, what does this protect me from? What does it cost me? Step 4. Identify your stress flip. What happens to you under pressure? Do you control? Do you avoid? Do you numb? Do you perform? Step 5. Pick one lever, one change, small, repeatable, observable. Example, if your pattern is avoidance, your lever is one direct conversation per week. If your pattern is overthinking, your lever is a decision deadline. If your pattern is people-pleasing, your lever is one clean boundary. This is how personality becomes useful, not as a label, but as a training plan. Most people want a final answer about themselves, but understanding the self is never complete. Because you're not a statue, you're a system that adapts. The point isn't to get a perfect label. The point is to become the kind of person you respect through repeated choices you can actually keep. And if a personality tool helps you do that, it's worth using. If it makes you feel trapped, it's not. If you want a deeper pattern map, something that doesn't stop at a label, that's what we're building at personalitypeak.com. But either way, keep the toolkit. Use results as hypotheses, translate into behaviors, find trade-offs, spot your stress flip, and train one lever. That's how personality becomes power.